Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do a reading from the beginning of my new book, The Castle. And to those of you who already sent in reviews and things, thank you so much. The response has been wonderful and I'm really grateful. This is my first adventure story after all my fashion and music books, and it was a joy to write, and I'm really glad to have it out there now, especially with this lovely cover. I'm not going to read you from the very beginning, that's available on my website too, but just a little bit further on. This is Peter Jones at her mother's wedding reception. Her mother, believing that Peter's dad is dead, has just got remarried to an old army friend of her father's called Rupert. And Peter is really not enjoying the reception that's being held at her grandparents' hotel. It was the stupid dress's fault. I hated dresses. I hated peach. I hated silk sashes and net petticoats and being a bridesmaid when Mum shouldn't have been marrying at all. I dumped the tray in the kitchen and fled up the narrow back stairs of the inn, making for the top floor flat where my grandparents lived. Mum and I had been staying here since the bomb, and I had Mum's old room under the eaves. Its low sloping walls were covered with pictures from her childhood. As I ripped the dress off and started digging around for my jeans, I checked out happy pictures of growing up Mum with her pony, her little sister Eliza, her early nerdy spotty boyfriends, and then the confident, good-looking one who was 50 times better than all the others put together, and whose straight eyebrows and slate-grey eyes matched the ones I saw in the mirror when I dragged on a t-shirt, rubbed off the lip gloss and mussed up my hair. Mum and Dad fell for each other when they were teenagers and ran off to Brighton to get married because they couldn't wait. Mum wore jeans and the wedding ring came from a stall at the flea market. I came along soon after, and the three of us, we were it, the unit, everything. Dad was a hero. He'd fought in 3 wars, including one when he was not so much older than me, and won the Military Cross for what he did in those ambushes. It was hard not talking about him at school. What does your dad do? He manages an office. What does yours do? He's a soldier. But what I really meant was, he saves the world, like James Bond. Every day. How could Mum fall in love with Rupert? How could anyone do that twice? And having more children with him? His perfect daughters were bad enough. Damaris, Davina and Desdemona, collectively known as the Darling Dees. The thought of more of them made me shiver. If Dad could see me now, those eyebrows would be frowning. I knew I should be sucking up more pity stares, not slumping to the floor with my head on my knees and tears streaming down my face. Worse still, I could hear Granny calling for the bridesmaids to come forward for more photos. People would be looking round to see where I was. They'd assume I was being a handful. Maybe I was. I reached across from my hideous peach satin bag and got out my phone to listen to that message from the church at last. As I pressed the button to turn it back on, the door creaked. I leapt to my feet. "Coming, Granny!" But it wasn't Granny, it was Mum, looking absolutely beautiful in her short lace dress and heels. And not incandescently angry anymore, just sad. "Here you are," she said. "I've been looking for you. I'm about to get changed before we go and I wanted a quick chat." I eyed her nervously. I'd apologised at least 6 times for the phone call in church. What else could I do? "Don't worry," she said, plonking herself down on the bed, edging my sleeping cat along and patting the place next to her. "I don't want to go away for 2 weeks and leave you like this." "Like what?" I perched uncomfortably between her and Lacey the cat. "All wound up and miserable. I just want you to know how much I love you, darling, and Roop does too." Roop. She called him Roop. I tried hard not to roll my eyes. Not hard enough, though. "He does, really," Mum sighed. "And most importantly, Dad loved you, more than you'll ever know. And darling," she bit her lip, working out what to say, "I know this conversation is hard for us, but one day you'll learn to accept that he's gone. I know it doesn't feel real, but one day it will." I gritted my teeth. We hadn't talked about Dad properly for a while, what with the wedding and everything, and I really wish we weren't doing it now, just before she went away. "He loved you so much. If there was any way for him to come back to you, he'd have done it by now. You must know that, precious girl." Her voice was soft and gentle, but the words still felt like sandpaper. "I don't know," I whispered. I had lots of reasons for believing that Dad was still out there, but why didn't he come home? And there we have it for now, and I'll be doing another reading a little bit later on.